Good morning. Welcome to One Community Christian Church. We're glad that you're joining us. Facebook, YouTube. Wish you were here. We're going to be here for the next few Sundays, so feel free to come anytime you want. For those of you who come to the food pantry on Monday, I want you to know that this Monday is a little bit different. It's the beginning of the fiscal year. And so you have to bring photo ID, you have to bring household income. You don't need proof of household income. We take your word for it. But there's going to be some papers to fill out. Wanda's opening the doors a little bit early, 10:30, because of the extra work that needs to be done. So if you're recipients of the food pantry, just know that. Come early and be prepared to stay a little bit longer to get all that done. Also, for those of you who are watching us, we are going to have a picnic at Shawnee. Pavilion number 7 on July 26th. That's 2 weeks from today. And I will not wear a suit. And we're going to have a good time. And in the midst of the picnic, we're going to have a water baptism service for those who are so inclined. So know that and feel free to join us. I think that's housekeeping. I've done my job. Okay. I was reading the Bible the other day. I know. Has it come to that? And I ran across a statement that I just couldn't get away from. It leapt off the page. And the essence of it is, let me step back for a minute. So I'm struck by the mystery of God. He's mysterious, he's huge, he's eternal. He has 10,000 times 10,000 angels around him worshiping all the time, helping us from time to time. And I'm willing to let God be a mystery. I'm good with that. He's mysterious, he's wonderful. He's also, like we sang about, we've lived in the goodness of God. He's so good to us. But there's another side of God. Like David said, that he remembers our frame that we're dust. He does know what we're dealing with. And if the sermon today were to have a title, it would be What to Do with a Bad Decision. What do you do with a bad decision? So we're going to look at 3 characters in the Bible who made bad decisions and see what they did with them. And, well, I'm done talking. I'm going to start reading. Daniel 6, verses 14 through 16. A young fellow named Darius, he was the king of the, what was he? I forget which country. The Persians, I believe. And it's the story of Daniel in the lion's den, and most of us know that story by heart. And I'll give you a little background. Daniel, who had been taken from Israel and made to be a servant, was just far and above everybody else in the kingdom. And the fellow governors and rulers and such of his time, bottom line is they got jealous. There's no other way to put it. So they thought, well, we're going to get him. We're going to bring an end to this guy. They told Darius, Medes and Persians. That's it, Medes and Persians. They told Darius, look, you need to make a proclamation, a decree, that anybody who prays and asks for anything other than from you gets killed. Oh, sounded pretty good to Darius. I like that. It's got a ring to it. So he signed it into law. Then they came back and said, we saw Daniel praying. Check out Darius' reaction. It's awesome. Daniel 6:14. Then the king, when he heard these words, he was sore displeased with whom? All together now. When he heard these words, he was sore displeased with himself. Set his heart on Daniel to deliver him. And he labored until the going down of the sun to deliver him. Then these men, these same guys who tricked him, assembled unto the king and said unto the king, Know, O king, that the law of the Medes and Persians is that no decree nor statute which the king has established may be changed. And in parentheses, not even by the king himself. Then the king commanded, and they brought Daniel and cast him into the den of lions. Now the king spake this thing unto Daniel. He said, Your God, whom you serve continually, he's going to deliver you. I don't know how Darius knew that. He's going to deliver you. So Darius had made a bad decision. He was displeased with whom? He owned it. The first thing he did was owned it. My choice, my decision, bad. But that was a turning point in Darius' life. And a turning point in the life of the entire nation. Let's now look at what he did as a result of... We know the story. I'll tell the story a little more. So he put Daniel in the lion's den. And he probably didn't sleep a wink that night. Came the next morning, took the stone off the lion's den, and he said, Daniel. And Daniel said, O king, live forever. He said, how'd that happen? And they pulled Daniel out, and he took all the fellows that set Daniel up, and he put them in the lion's den instead. And it says that the lions break their bones before ever they hit the ground. But he did more than that. 625. Then King Darius wrote unto all the people and nations and languages that dwell on the earth, Peace be multiplied unto you. I'm making yet another decree, that every dominion of my kingdom, that in every dominion of my kingdom, men tremble and fear before the God of Daniel. For he is the living God, steadfast forever, his kingdom which shall never be destroyed, and his dominion shall be even unto the end. He delivers and he rescues, and he works signs and wonders in heaven and in earth, who hath delivered Daniel from the power of the lions. He made another decree. First one was a bad decision. I got to change that. I have to make a change. I got to change direction here. Let's look at somebody else who made a really bad decision. The other fella, one of the other fellows, is the prodigal son. We all know that story well. But you have, the wording is just amazing. Luke 15, 14 through 18. Background on the story. A wealthy man had two sons, and the younger of the sons said, I want my inheritance, and I want it now. And the dad said, okay, and he gave it to him, and the young son went out and just partied down. And he did it all. Went into a faraway land, and lo and behold, as soon as he ran out of money, there was a famine. He was in a world of hurt. And that's where we're going to pick it up. Luke 15, 14. And when he had spent all, there arose a mighty famine in that land, and he began to be in want. And he went and joined himself to a citizen of that country, and he sent him into the fields to feed the swine. And the prodigal son would fain have filled his own belly with the husks that the swine did eat. Magical phrase right here, and no man gave to him. And when he came to himself, he said, how many hired servants of my father's have bread enough to eat, and even to spare, and I'm perishing with hunger. You know the rest of the story. I'm going to rise, I'm going to go to my father and say unto him, I've sinned against heaven and before you. Who did he have to come to? Who made the decision? He did. He owned it. When I saw that King Darius was sore displeased with himself, there was such a sense of liberation that came over me. I can own it. I can own it, and God still doesn't hate me. I did it all by my own self. Flip Wilson used to say, and the devil made me do it. Well, I don't need the devil. I'm an expert at making bad decisions. And I've made some buttes. But let's look at what happened. Luke 15, verses 20 through 24. And the prodigal son arose and came to his father. But when he was yet a great way off, his father saw him, and he had compassion. And he ran, and he fell on his neck, and he kissed him. And the son said unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and in thy sight, and I am no more worthy to be called your son. But the father said to his servants, Bring forth the best robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his hand and shoes on his feet. Bring hither the fatted calf and kill it, and let's eat and be merry. Because my son who was dead is alive. He was lost and is found. And they began to be merry. The father didn't hold it against him. The son had to come to the father and say, Look what I did. Look what I did. Father didn't have time for that. He said, Come on, get a robe, get a ring for his hand. Come on. He's back. He's home. Come on. The father had mercy on him. Let's look at one other person. What do you say? Out of the mouth of two, or here's our third witness, a guy named Peter. Luke 22, 54 through 62. We all know the story. Peter said to Jesus right before he was crucified, Look, I'm ready to go with you even unto death. I'm the man. He knew he was a sound thinker and he always made good decisions. I'm the man. I'm going to do it. I think Jesus did this. I'm not sure. But I think he did this. And he said, Peter, before the rooster crows in the morning, you're going to deny me 3 times. And I bet that ticked him off. Who do you think you are? Luke 22:54. And they took Jesus, they led him and brought him into the high priest's house. And of course, Peter followed afar off. And when they had kindled a fire in the midst of the hall, and they were set down together, Peter sat down among them. But a certain maid looked at him by the fire, and she earnestly looked at him, and she said, You were with him. And he denied him, saying, Woman, I know him not. And after a little while, another saw him and said, You're also of them. And Peter said, Man, I am not. And about the space of 1 hour after that, another confidently affirmed, saying, Of a truth, this fellow was also with him, for he is a Galilean. And Peter said, Man, I know not what you're saying. And immediately while he spoke, the cock crew. And it doesn't end there. This is a really bad day for Peter. And the Lord turned and looked at him. And Peter remembered the word of the Lord, how he said unto him, Before the cock crow thou shalt deny me thrice. And Peter went out, and he wept bitterly. He was owning it. Look what I just did. Look at the decision, in his case, 3 decisions. Look at the 3 decisions that I just made. In full knowledge. In full knowledge. And then he looked at me. And Peter went out by himself and took ownership. He wept bitterly. Peter was pouring his heart out before the Lord. Psalm 62:8. Trust in the Lord at all times. Is that how it reads, all you people? Pour out your heart before him, for he's a refuge for us. Peter was pouring out his heart before the Lord. David said somewhere else in the Psalms that, Bless the Lord, O my soul, and all that is within me, even the bad decisions. Bless his holy name. I won't ask for a show of hands. Has anyone ever made a bad decision? Never seen so many hands. 53 days after Peter made that bad decision, he preached a sermon. It's after the day of Pentecost. And because of and through that sermon, 3,000 people came to know the Lord. 53 days. That's not even 2 months. You know, I get a charge out of politics. When people are running for office, it's always, somebody from the opposite side of the aisle, and I don't care what side, they're both the same. Show some video of something he said 10 years ago, or a text, or whatever. Yeah, this was 53 days ago. You get in the picture. This was 53 days ago. 3,000 came to know the Lord. It's amazing. I would also like you to see something in how God dealt with Peter. Surprisingly so. It's in, where is it? It's Mark 16. Verses 6 and 7. This is when they came into the tomb and found that Jesus wasn't there and the angels were sitting in the tomb. 16, verse 6. And he said unto them, don't be afraid. You're looking for Jesus of Nazareth, which was crucified. Well, he's risen. He's not here. Behold, this is where they laid him. But go your way and tell his disciples. Who else? He remembered Peter. Go tell his disciples and Peter. Wild. The mercy. The understanding of our nature. We're just dust. Sometimes I think a whole lot more highly of myself than dust. But then something happens the next day and I'm dust again. I was in a very brief meeting week before last. And a contractor was working on a project that I had designed, and he sent me a text. He said, I want you to look at sheet number S1.0 and look at the detail of this and that. And we gotta make some changes here. He knew what he's talking about. I went in and said, come on, Greg, what's going on? Show me. I was in my car, so I was able just to pop right over there. He rolled it out. Oh my gosh. Big as life. I had made a bad decision. And I leveled with Greg and the entire office. I said, guys, I don't make mistakes very often, but when I do, they're buttes. And this was a butte. The dumb building would have fallen down, for heaven's sakes. And that's silly compared to some of the bad decisions that we're talking about and thinking about this morning. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Especially the ones made in full knowledge like Peter. Let's look at Proverbs 28:13, I beg your pardon. Talk about liberating. He that covers his sins is not going to prosper. But whoever confesses them, it doesn't stop there, and turns the other way. Remember Darius? He made another decree. Yeah. Remember the prodigal son? He left. He came back to his dad. Remember Peter? He preached a sermon that confesses and forsake them. He's going to have what? Mercy. They all found mercy. Psalm 139 goes into great detail how we're fearfully and wonderfully made. Talks about our members before they're ever made, how they're written. David didn't know what he was talking about. It's our DNA. It's what makes us what we are. They're written before we're ever formed. Our DNA is written. He knows our strengths and our weaknesses. That's how he opens up Psalm 139. Lord, you know me. You know my uprisings and my down sittings. It doesn't mean you know when I get up and sit down. It means you know where I'm strong and where I'm weak. You know my thoughts are far off. I've made some doozies. They all found mercy, and they all found a new beginning. But not till they owned it. You getting it? Darius was sore displeased with himself. The prodigal son came to self. Because the reality is we're going to goof, we're going to mess up. We don't want to, but we do. Even after we come to know the Lord. Talk about full knowledge. Should have known better than that. I went and did it anyways. More importantly, he knows it too. You know, there's a scripture just came to mind here. Hang on here. Creature was made subject to vanity, not willingly, but by the same person who gave him hope. It's in Romans. He didn't make us perfect. We're subject to vanity. That's King James for saying we think more highly of ourselves when we make mistakes. That's what it means. The creature was made subject to vanity, not willingly, but of him by whom he's also given hope, which is God. It's interesting. Moses asked the Lord one time, he said, "Can I see your glory?" Remember that story? It's Exodus 34. The Lord said, "Yeah, I'll pass by you, but you can only see my back because nobody can see my face and live." He said, "I'm going to hide you in the cleft of the rock." And Fannie J. Crosby wrote a song about that. He hideth my soul in the cleft of the rock. I'm going to pass by you. And so the Lord passed by Moses, and he declared who he was to Moses. And he should have said, in my opinion, "The Lord, creator of heaven and earth, the Lord upon whose shoulders rests all strength and might and decision-making." But he didn't. What did he say? "The Lord merciful and gracious." Those are the two first words he used to describe himself to Moses. Jeremiah, when he wrote his Lamentations, he said that his mercies are new every morning. What do you do with a stupid decision? Same thing we do with everything else. Give it to God. I have good nose. I do have a good nose. I have good news. Really good news. I've given some buttes to the Lord, and he's taken care of every one of them. You're free. You're free. Remember years ago I had a sermon, the title of it was "Pardon My Humanity." You're free. How appropriate. We're going to have the Lord's Supper or communion or whatever we call it here this morning. I'm going to read the scriptures that we always read prior to communion. I didn't realize it until later that this is plain. But let a man examine himself, and so let him eat of the bread and drink of the cup. What a wonderful time. What a wonderful time. You know, I'm sorry for talking so much. It's only 11:30. We're going to get out early today. The word of the Lord is quick. That was so good that I forgot what I was going to say. He probably did it on purpose. He made me. He's got to have a sense of humor. Lord, help us. In prayer. More now than ever. I mean, I'm 68. I am begging forgiveness and telling him I'm sorry and asking for healing for those who I've hurt. I mean, 50 years ago. 50, when I was a teenager, I was the biggest jerk that ever walked this planet. I knew how to be a good boy in church. Oh, yeah. It's not a burden. It's very liberating. Lord, you were there when I said that. You were there when I did that, or didn't do that, and I knew I should have. You were there. I'm so sorry. Give me forgiveness, please, and bring healing. But they're coming up. And with every time I beg for forgiveness and tell them I'm genuinely sorry, the freedom. Oh my gosh. I come out of that time of prayer a different fella. Oh, I can face the day. I can do it. His mercies are new every morning. Let's read the scriptures for communion. Who is serving today? Was anyone selected to serve? Things are a bit messed up with Pastor Rick being gone and such. But Lisa's just made the selection. Thanks, babe. I hate to be up here groveling. Adam, just so you know, I'm going to read these scriptures and then we'll say goodbye to Facebook. But I want the Facebook and YouTube people to hear this. Paul says to the church in Corinth, "For I have received of the Lord," it's 1 Corinthians 11:23, I have received of the Lord that which also I delivered unto you, that Jesus, the same night in which he was betrayed, he took bread, and when he had given thanks, he broke it. And he said, "Take, eat, this is my body, which is broken for you. This do in remembrance of me." After the same manner also he took the cup, and when he had supped, saying, "This cup is the New Testament in my blood. This do ye as often as ye drink it, in remembrance of me." Because as often as you eat this bread and you drink this cup, you show the Lord's death. We show Jesus' death until he comes. Wherefore, whosoever shall eat this bread and drink this cup of the Lord unworthily is guilty of the body and blood of the Lord. Verse 28, "But let a man examine himself, and then, or so, let him eat of that bread and drink of that cup." What a wonderful time. Let's, as Steve and Kim are passing out, I'll give them to you guys, or you go ahead. You know what you're doing. You're big kids, yeah. As they're passing out the elements, go ahead. Say, "Lord, show me. Show me." At the end of Psalm 139, the other amazing thing was David said, "Search my heart and know my thoughts. See if there be any wicked way in me." And he doesn't end there. He says, "And then lead me in the way everlasting." Let that be our prayer as they're handing out communion right now. And to everybody on Facebook, YouTube, glad you joined us. Hope to see you here in person. We'll treat you real good, I promise. See you next week.